Whenever they were rioting in Ferguson and places like that, they were saying that these companies weren't going to come back. Well, okay. Well, then they need to be incentivized to come back. We need to build these neighborhoods up, and we need to build these places up, and we need to make these communities resemble communities. Like I lived in Detroit for as a kid, and I have to admit that whenever I see pictures of it, and it baffles me. It's not the city that I remember, and I mean, not that it was a great looking city before. I mean, I love the city, but um but but at the same time, I mean, it's just so dilapidated that I mean, it's just kind of unrecognizable to me. And so these are things that we need to address. These are things that Bernie is wanting to address. I mean, he wants to make our priorities shift towards home. Having our priorities be anywhere other than focused on home is us spending money outside of the U.S. American tax dollars, American money. Where do we like spending almost $700 billion on defense for an enemy we don't really have, and we spend 267 billion on education? I'm confused. I don't understand. There's so many things that we can do. We think that, like, I mean, do we want to be a nation of war? Do we want to be like, I mean, let's take our dignity back. The only way we can take our dignity back comes from the very simple and short truths that healthcare and and education have to be a right. They have to be. The reason why is because those are the fundamental things that create a basis of your existence. If you're not healthy, you don't exist. You're chasing health. If you're not healthy, you're chasing health. And if you're not educated, then you're chasing education, because you're going to be a victim of every person that you come in contact with, because everything that's built in this society is meant and directed towards a capitalistic system, which is basically for that person to have a dollar, someone else has to be without a dollar. And so this whole system that we have is where, for one person to have something, other people have to have nothing. And so whenever you see that just stacks up to the point where it's 1/10 of 1% of the population owns 80% of the wealth, that's what eventually happens whenever this system is left unregulated and uncensored and unadulterated, basically. So these things have to be changed, and these things have to be made better for the people, because all we're seeing is more and more people at each other's necks, more and more people hurting each other, more and more people shooting each other. If they had stuff, if they had a better life, if they had more opportunities, if they had more dignity, then you wouldn't see people so willing to, and it all connects, because guess what? Let's take the Virginia Tech shooter. The guy that shot up Virginia Tech. I remember reading that he was bullied and all of these other things. And I think about it, and it's like, okay, if he was bullied and he went through these things, then you got to look at the people that bullied him. Maybe they came from a poor family. Maybe, the poor family was this or that. And so his way of dealing with his thing. What I'm saying is these things all intersect within our human psyche and our brains. And we don't look at the roots of the problems. We only look at the Virginia Tech shooter. We don't see what actually created the Virginia Tech shooter and the problems that actually, created the person that created the Virginia Tech shooter, and actually going down the line and figuring out the roots of these problems. Because you know what? Bernie's right. It always comes back to inequality of some sort. It's always inequality. So let's give the people some equality back. Let's make this an equitable time for America. Let's make this right for our kids and for our people. I mean, I don't understand why this is even a topic of discussion. Bernie is our only person. He's the only one that wants to actually make an effort to put America back on the map and make us right and make